bursting into his world, sights deep hollies, the heart's questioning inner voice. Happy are they who in this chaos of things, this coming and going of the feet of time, can find the single truth, the eternal law. Happiest who stand on faith as on a hawk, but I must pass, leaving the ended search. Truth's rounded outcome, firm, immutable, and this harmonic building of a world of fact, this ordered knowledge of apparent things. Here I can stay not, for I see my soul.
Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, however long the journey may be, and however great the traveler, at the end is always found exclusive reliance on the Divine's grace, with always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 10, Canto 4, The Dream Twilight of the Earthly Real. Then a voice was heard that seemed the stillness said, I hail thee, Almighty and victorious Death, thou grandest darkness of the infinite. Thou art my shadow and my instrument. Relieve the radiant God from thy black mask. Release the soul of the world called Satyavan.
Then Savitri surged out of her body's wall and stood a little span outside herself at the dim portal of the inner life. A formidable voice cried from within, back, creature earth, lest tortured and torn thou die. The serpent of the threshold hissing rose, and trolls and gnomes and goblins scowled and stared, and wild beasts drawings thrilled the blood with fear. And menace mattered in a dangerous tongue, unshaken her will pressed on the rigid bar. Her being entered into the inner world.
Darshan Day Messages, 21st Feb 1953. Everyone who is turned to the Mother, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo, is doing my integral yoga. It is a great mistake to suppose that one can do the Purna Yoga, that is, carry out and fulfill all the sides of the yoga by one's own effort. No human being can do that. What one has to do is to put oneself in the Mother's hands. What one has to do is to put oneself in the Divine Mother's hands and open oneself to her by service, by bhakti, by aspiration. Then the Divine Mother, by her divine light and force, works in him so that the sadhana is done. It is a mistake also to have the ambition to be a big Purna Yogi or a supramental being and ask oneself how far I have got towards that. The right attitude is to be devoted and given to the Divine Mother and to wish to be whatever she wants you to be. The rest is for the Divine Mother to decide and do in you. Words of our Divine Mother taken from the question and answers of 1955, date 19th October 1955. Question, Sweet Mother. Here, our Lord Sri Aurobindo said, the teguments of the soul. What are the teguments of the soul, Sweet Mother? For this, our Divine Mother says, oh, it is compared with a plant. It is something which keeps the bud of a flower closed, which ties up. So to say, the bud or the flower ties it up, closes it. These are the things which have to be broken so that the flower can blossom. So it follows the comparison with the lotus, you see. What shuts in the soul prevents it from being active and manifesting itself. That's what has to be broken. Like links, ties, things which hold it in, this must be broken. More or less slowly, so that the soul may blossom like a flower. These attachments, our Lord Sri Aurobindo explains what they are. I think it's here that he says that they are obstacles to the inevitable efflorescence. He also says confined by attachment to finite appearances. It is the same thing. It is all that attaches you to the ordinary external consciousness, all that ties you to the ordinary life. That's what shuts up the soul like this, squeezed up closely. This must be broken, says our Divine Mother.
Crude beginning of incontinent force. This state now threatened. Thus she pushed from her.
Next question taken from page 338, Sweet Mother. Here it is said, he who chooses the infinite has been chosen by the infinite. For this, our Divine Mother smiles and says, it is a magnificent sentence. And it's absolutely true. There is, in Thoughts and Glimpses, also a sentence like this, where I think he uses the word God instead of the infinite. But the idea is the same, that is, God who has chosen you, the divine who has chosen you, and that is why you run after him. And this is what gives, that's what he says, that is what gives that kind of confidence, of certitude precisely that one is predestined. And if one is predestined, even if there are mountains of difficulties, what can matter since one is sure to succeed? This gives you an indomitable courage to face all difficulties and a patience that stands all trials. You are sure to succeed. Our Divine Mother continues to say, and it's a fact. In fact, it is like that. The moment you thought about it, well, you thought about it because someone thought about you. You choose because you were chosen. And once you have been chosen, you are sure of the thing. Therefore, doubts, hesitations, depressions, uncertainties, all this is quite simply a waste of time and energy. It is of no use at all. Our Divine Mother says, from the moment one has felt just once within himself, this is the truth for me. It is finished. It is finished. It is settled. Even if you spend years cutting your way through the virgin forest, it's of no importance. It is finished. It is settled. That is why I told you one day, after all, you're all here because you have wanted it somewhere. And if you wanted it somewhere, it means that the divine wanted it thus in you. So, there are some who follow a very straight path, arrive very quickly. There are others who love labyrinths, it takes long. But the end is there, the goal is there. I know by experience that there isn't one being who, where it only once in his life has had a great urge towards, it doesn't matter how he calls it. Let us say the divine for facility of speech, who's not sure to arrive. Even if he turns his back on him at a certain time, it's of no importance. He's sure to arrive. He will have to struggle more or less, will have more or less difficulty, but he is sure to succeed one day. Our Divine Mother says, it is a soul that has been chosen. It is a soul that has been chosen. It has become conscious because its hour has come. Once the hour has come, the result will follow more or less quickly. You can do this in a few months, you can do it in some years, you can do it in some lives, but you will do it. Our Divine Mother says, and what is remarkable is that this freedom of choice is left to you, and that if you decide within yourself that you will do it in this lifetime, you will do it. And I am not speaking here of a permanent and a continuous decision because then you can arrive in 12 months. No, I mean, if you have suddenly been seized by this, I want this, even once in a flash, the seal is put there like that. There we are. That's not a reason for wasting time on the way. That's not a reason for just following all the meanderings of the labyrinth and arriving with considerable rubbish when you are at the end. No, but in any case, it is a reason by never despairing, whatever the difficulties may be. Our Divine Mother continues to say, I am of the opinion that when there is something to do, it is better to do it as quickly as possible. But still, there are people who like to waste their time. Perhaps they need to turn and turn and turn and return, make lots of windings before reaching the place they have to. But that's a question of choice. Unfortunately, those who are in this habit of turning and turning aside, making all kinds of useless meanderings, are the ones who complain the most. They moan. They are the workers of their own misery. Our Divine Mother says if one decided to go straight upon his path, whatever the cost, knowing how to bear a few difficulties, facing discomforts without weakness, you see, well, one would avoid much trouble. But some people go only if they are taken by the scuff of the neck and dragged with a terrible force. Then they shout that they are violently forced. However, this is what they wanted it. Then our Divine Mother reads from the synthesis of yoga the four aids, and then the question by the child, Sweet Mother, the process of yoga is a turning of the human soul from the egoistic state of consciousness absorbed in the outward appearances. I did not understand the egoistic state of consciousness absorbed in the outward appearances. For this, our Divine Mother smiles and says, people are occupied with outward things. People are occupied with outward things. That means that the consciousness is turned towards external things. That is, all the things of life which one sees, knows, does, instead of being turned inward in order to find the deeper truth the Divine presents. This is the first moment. You are busy with all that you do, with the people around you, the things you see, and then with life, eating, sleeping, talking, working, having a little fun, and then beginning over again. And then it begins again, eating, sleeping, etc. And then what this one has said, what that one has done, what one ought to do, the lesson one ought to learn, the exercise one ought to prepare, and then again, whether one is keeping well, whether one is feeling fit, this is what one usually thinks about. Our Divine Mother says, so the first moment, and it is not so easy, the first moment is to make all that pass to the background and let one thing come from inside and in front of the consciousness as the important thing. The discovery of the very purpose of existence and life. To learn what one is, why one lives, and what there is behind all this. Our Divine Mother says this is the first step to be interested more in the cause and goal than in the manifestation. That is the first moment, is a withdrawal of the consciousness from this total identification with outward and apparent things and a kind of inward concentration on what one wants to discover, the truth one wants to discover. This is the first moment. Our Divine Mother says, many people who are here forget one thing. They want to begin by the end. They think that they are ready to express in their life what they call the supramental force or the consciousness, and they want to infuse this in their actions, in their moments, and their daily life. But the trouble is that they don't at all know what the supramental force or consciousness is. And that, first of all, it is necessary to take the reverse path, the way of interiorization and of withdrawal from life in order to find within oneself this truth which has to be expressed. Our Divine Mother says, for as long as one has not found it, there is nothing to express. And by imagining that one is living an exceptional life, one lives in the illusion of one's exceptional state. Therefore, at first, not only must one find one's soul and the divine who possesses it, but one must identify oneself with it. Let me repeat. At first, not only must one find one's soul and the divine who possesses it, but one must identify oneself with it. And then later, one may begin to come back to outward activities and then transform them. Because then one knows in what direction to turn them, into what to transform them. Our Divine Mother says one can't jump over the stage. One must first find one's soul. This is absolutely indispensable. And identify oneself with it. Later, one can come to the transformation. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo has written somewhere, our integral yoga begins where the others end. Usually, yoga leads precisely to this identification, this union with the divine. That is why it is called yoga. And when people reach this, well, they are at the end of their path and satisfied. But our Lord Sri Aurobindo has written, says our Divine Mother, we begin when they finish. You have found the divine. But instead of sitting down in contemplation and waiting for the divine to take you out of your body, which has become useless, on the contrary, with this divine consciousness, you turn to the body and to life and begin the work of transformation, which is a very hard labor. It is here that he compares it with cutting one's way through a virgin forest because, as nobody has done it before, one must make one's path where there was none. But to try to do this without having the indispensable directive of the union with the divine within one's soul is childishness. Our Divine Mother says, I am speaking of integral yoga. I am not speaking of your life, of you children here. That's different. You are here to develop yourself. And when you are developed and have a precise thought of your own, a vision of your own, and when you have enough knowledge to be able to choose freely what life you want to lead, then at that time you will take a decision. But those who have already taken the decision, well, for them, it is first of all indispensable to find their soul and unite with their psychic being and with the divine who is within it. This is an absolutely indispensable beginning. One can't leap over that bridge, it is not possible. It can be done very quickly if you know how to use the help that's given to you, but it has to be done, says our divine.
These sentences savor the oracle. Traveler or pilgrim of the inner world, all aspirant to the perfect way of life, here find it. Rest from search and live at peace.